Here's your news rush for August 19, 2026. 6 stories. Let's go. A U.S. ally just cut economic ties with Iran entirely, hours after air raid sirens sounded for the first time in weeks. The UAE's defense ministry says its air defenses detected 2 ballistic missiles fired from Iran toward the country, triggering nationwide shelter warnings. In response, the UAE says it is suspending all trade, exchanges, and financial transactions with Iran until further notice. Iran denies launching any missiles at the UAE at all. But this is a real reversal. Maritime trade between the two had actually resumed back in June, when hostilities eased. That means one alleged missile launch just undid 2 months of quiet de-escalation. Subscribe for more. That's world news, fast. Russia just skipped past Ukraine and threatened a NATO country directly. Russia's embassy in London says the UK will face, quote, consequences for which it will have to answer, after reports that Kyiv used British-made drones for long-range strikes inside Russia for the first time. The embassy says London is, quote, deliberately opting for an escalation, and warned that the deeper UK involvement goes, the higher the price it will pay. The UK has pledged 150,000 drones to Ukraine by the end of this year. That means the threat and the actual supply commitment are both scaling up at the same time, not offsetting each other. Subscribe for more. That's world news, fast. A trial that could reshape Facebook and Instagram just opened in a California federal courtroom. A coalition of 29 states, led by California, Colorado, Kentucky and New Jersey, argues Meta designed its apps to addict young users, harming their mental health, and is seeking around $200 billion in damages. An 8-person jury will hear the case over an expected 7 weeks, but a judge, not the jury, will ultimately decide whether Meta is liable and can order changes to both platforms. Meta calls the allegations unsubstantiated. This is the first federal trial of its kind, and lawsuits against TikTok, Snapchat, and YouTube over the same claims are already lined up behind it. Subscribe for more. That's world news, fast. We told you about Indiana's record flooding, now the state is running out of money to respond to it. Officials say the death toll has risen to 7, with more than 1,000 residents displaced statewide. Governor Braun activated the state's disaster relief fund to give displaced families $5,000 grants for basics like food and clothing, but officials say a brutal summer of storms had already drained that fund down to just $2 million. President Trump's federal emergency declaration helps, but it caps assistance at only $5 million. That means the money available right now is a fraction of what a disaster this size usually costs to recover from. Subscribe for more. That's world news, fast. Researchers just found a cancer trend they cannot yet explain. A UC San Francisco study published in JAMA Network Open analyzed around 150,000 invasive breast cancer cases from 2000 to 2022, and found incidence rising more than 3% a year across nearly every Asian American ethnic group, even faster among Chinese and Vietnamese women, and worst in the most aggressive subtype among younger women. Researchers say the increase is probably not just more screening, because it's the already advanced cancers that are climbing fastest, not early-stage catches. That means something is actually driving more aggressive disease, researchers just do not know what yet. This is one study's findings, not medical advice. Subscribe for more. That's world news, fast. A bookstore owner in California just got a piece of mail 40 years in the making. The owner of Booklegger, a bookstore in Eureka, says she recently received a package containing a rare book, a $100 bill, and a handwritten apology letter from an anonymous sender who confessed to shoplifting the book as a struggling student decades ago. The sender wrote they were, quote, so happy to find the store was still in business, and asked if there was anything further they could do to make it right. But there was no name and no return address on the package. That means the store will likely never know who it was, just that an old debt got quietly settled anyway. Some apologies really do just take a while. Subscribe for more. That's world news, fast. That's your news rush for today. Subscribe so you never miss a day.